All right, it is currently 2:42 p.m. This is the specific environment as I've referenced it. This is demonic on its face. This is the bedroom, the facilitating venue where a third party lives, a third party who is specifically demon possessed, okay? And that's referencing the character of the criminal system that the state is practicing with the people of the state as well. This is impossible light activity, and it's multiple patterns of the blinds. It's not a consistent pattern of just the one blind here. It's multiple patterns. It's concentrated light that's aimed onto the wall. It's moving because the blinds are moving. She left her windows cracked open for this. She is Tracy Banks, who's group stalking and engaged in federal stalking right now while she's physically outside of the presence inside of the apartment, okay? She's group stalking, and this is the facility where she and the rest of the population are maintaining the criminal elements and monitoring. This is impossible light, and the color of that light has nothing to do with the sun, in the same way that the sun is not something that in a natural environment would remain present at the same address, which is here now, where I remain here, Woodside Senior Apartments, from 7 a.m. until after 6 p.m. This is where entities keeping the fake sun, as I've referenced it, and engineered light, which is distinct from the placement of the fake sun. And as you can see here, the fake sun and this engineered light are two separate methods of stalking with light and pointing to a population who's group stalking you, and you can understand that and see it with your own eyes as I show you the demonic. This is a covered structure right here. This is a patio. The sun is something that's not in alignment with door 41. The people of the state, Avanath, employees who are group stalking, living and working at the facilitating venue, where this light activity is on the wall. And this is the direct evidence that Avanath is engaged in group stalking, and they're going to be civilly criminally prosecuted. Regarding your ability to look at the demonic, the demon possessed, the group stalkers who are the entity that's practicing a demonic pattern of targeting while engaging in what was documented on podcast today. Criminal defamation by the entity. Remember, Tracy Banks is not an individual. The state's pattern of conduct. The state is group stalking. The state is the one that's following you from city to city, place to place in this specific environment in helicopters. Tracy speaks as the state inside of her facilitating venue, not a private residence, where this pattern of conduct, which is constructive presence, where you see engineered light, where the entity is stalking in helicopters and police, fire, and ambulance vehicles, where the entity is keeping a fake sun over the apartment complex as a facilitating venue, not a private residence, where you are looking at the ongoing admission of to intentional activity creation in manners that are irreconcilable, under no circumstances naturally occurring, where the entity has what is under a patio structure, no sunlight, no concentrated light whatsoever, and neither is it going to ricochet underneath the patio, onto the glass, through the blinds, onto the wall. You're looking at the color of this light. It's yellowish light, but this is shade outside. This is under no circumstances sunlight. You are looking at the evidence of the presence of Satan through the unnatural environment. You are also aware of the presence of Satan through the demon possessed who are group stalking you. And these demons in apartment 41 know exactly what I'm stating right now. They are intentionally present in the path, as opposed to just living their lives ignorant about what's going on around them, casually going about on an ongoing basis, where the entity is keeping a fake sun and engineer light, okay? Those demons are group stalking with minor children. This is the family, that's just one, who are going to be deported. If it's determined that they're not natural born citizens, they're going to be deported after they're federally prosecuted as the domestic terrorists and violent sex offenders that they are, okay? This is the intent of a population to keep you under surveillance when you look at the evidence of the demonic. It is absolutely impossible to naturally occur. That is the evidence of the intent of a population and the government acting through that population to group stalk you, which is criminal surveillance by the state who has no warrant, no probable cause. The entity is stalking with ongoing amplification, which I'm documenting on an ongoing basis that the entity is doing via the Ontario city, the city of Ontario, coming onto the ground under the fake sun, both at what is 12 o'clock in the afternoon and 7 a.m. in the morning, when you're seeing the same presence, the fake sun and engineered light. They're emptying the garbage amongst engineered light under the fake sun, and they're doing so as the municipality is a direct actor. That's the state engaging in group stalking with the demon in 55, who's incessantly acting as the state, group stalking with amplified audible activity, following me from room to room, because right now amplification is occurring here. When I'm remaining in the living room, that demon is planted directly above me, pacing back and forth like a delusional psychopath who's going to federal prison, engaging in criminal defamation with Tracy, whose criminal presence and engagement in that P.O.C. with knowledge that is acting with the state with the intention to murder and kidnap me. Okay, a demonic entity that engages in sacrificing American citizens, kidnapping them, and as you heard Satan utter today, Satan who was using Tracy Banks who was a third party acting on behalf of the state. Okay, while the state practices federal group stalking and monitoring, which is demonic, that demon-possessed sex offender, Tracy Banks, uttered out of her face, which is a matter of published evidence, the fact that referencing someone's mental state. which as a demon-possessed group stalker engaging in what is absolutely psychotic criminal conduct designed to target another for no legitimate purpose, even your own blood relatives, that is speaking to what is a mental illness, contrary to what the entity engages in to criminally defame that targeted individual. That's the malice of the P.O.C. That's why she's going to federal prison. This specific environment directly rebuts everything that was defamatory coming out of her face. It is showing malice. It is showing the worthiness of federal imprisonment, and everybody calling on her phone, including Daryl Mandy, including Eric Spencer, including Andre Petty, who's in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They're all engaging in the intentional engagement and monitoring their audible activity on a communication device. This demon is in her apartment, pacing all around. You saw Engineer Light earlier today on the wall above her, while this psychopath on a phone, group stalking with the state, is standing in front of the microwave. Engineer Light is right here. I'm showing you my hand, so you'll reference the images you already know. The demon above is pacing back and forth. That's audible activity that's amplified, which is demonic. Impossible light activity, which is demonic, impossible to occur. There's no sun that's over the building, creating any sort of light that's reaching into the depths, while this demon is right here in your face. The same demon engaging in criminally defamatory audible activity to monitor and threaten your life. The population is keeping you under surveillance while you're home, while you go to work. That is the exact same P.O.C. That's why she's going to federal prison, okay? That's what the entity is. I'm glad you see that, because that's exactly what's happening in the living room while the entity is keeping me under surveillance under the fake sun, and the entity does so to the demise of the whole entity. The demon in apartment 55, you know exactly what he's group stalking while you saw that impossible light move across the building right now. Her license plate is 5WUV as in Victor 715. I've also seen 5WUB as in boy 715. She's a state actor. And you've seen this pattern of conduct in every hotel that I've stayed in. There's no sun over the Town Place by Marriott in Monrovia, California, where you saw the people of the state group stalking in traffic at Huntington and Myrtle, and the fake sun was over my head as I showed you through the hallway window, and the engineer light was moving all across in that hallway on the stairs and on the ceilings. This is the same pattern of conduct. You saw this at the office in Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles. You saw this inside of my apartment at Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles, where the entity was stalking in helicopters. The entity does so to the demise of the people. That's concentrated light. When you're aware of what is a covered patio, that's engineered light on the walls. It's maintained in a manner that is also irreconcilable with what is naturally occurring. And that's how you know a population is intentionally keeping you under surveillance, and they're demons while they do so. And I also want you to show you the fake sun at 2:49 p.m. There's no light source that is anything other the ongoing intent of a population to criminally surveil you. This is all shade, first of all. So let's look at that. This is shade, and you have what is light appearing through the at a great distance. I could put my hand through concentrated light that's shooting through the side of closed blinds. This is absolutely demonic. It's impossible in every regard. This is the presence of Satan as you're recognizing it. Satan uses people. This is a demon of 55. She's engaged in ongoing, ceaseless harassment and terrorism as an entity, engaging in the ongoing criminal acts of obstruction of justice while she's monitoring every physical move. Sex offenders engaging in monitoring and engineered light under the fake sun at the same address where it's rising, crossing the path, while engineer light moving, pacing. This is Avana. Okay? And they do so with knowledge about what I'm documenting. And that's what's occurring on the bedroom walls. This family is going to be deported if they're not even natural-born citizens, which I believe his wife is not a natural-born citizen. They're going to be deported after federal prosecution. There is no provision for that to naturally occur. The impossible light activity, the blinds are closed, the sun is above. This is all shade. That's how you understand that that was intentional. Those are the demons who are pacing together. And this is what Tracy Banks is acting in concert against her own child, criminally defaming with malice. She's going to federal prison, and so is that family. Avanath Communities is going to compensate me, and I'm going to prosecute them, okay? I want to be clear. This camera right here, that is a communication device that the state is using to engage in surveillance in concert with the people, and so are the surveillance cameras on the property. This light source, that's not the sun. You saw the city of Ontario emptying the garbage under the fake sun at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. You saw the city of Ontario emptying the garbage on September 30th, 2024, while that fake sun was still here at 7:30 in the morning. This is not the natural environment, nor does it have anything to do with that impossible light inside of the apartment. That's the intent for a demon to terrorize ongoing, incessantly, 24 hours a day, which the whole population is group stalking by. All right? And the entity is engaging in what is conduct on behalf of the whole entity. That was terrorism that you just saw. Demons crossing path. At the same time, I'm opening the door. They're tracking tracking my movement inside, and you're also aware that while the impossible light activity moves on inside of the depths on a bedroom wall, and Tracy Banks is a malicious psychopath, a violent sex offender, and a domestic terrorist who's going to federal prison for the rest of her life after she's prosecuted. And the people of the state are going to be treated the same way. Okay, she's going to federal prison by virtue of this psychopath was pacing while the fake son and engineer light filled the apartment, and Tracy Banks is documented on podcast admitting to engaging in federal stalking on the internet and doing so monitoring me through defamatory audible activity in the specific environment where there's no sun at this time that's going to be seen outside of my hotel room window at Hesperia's Holiday Inn at 9750 Key Point, where I'm documenting, uploading it right now onto the YouTube, which all the entity knows, because just like you saw in the bedroom, the ongoing documentation on the document that I'm using to engage in ongoing documentation of the terrorism that's ongoing by the people of the state outside, targeting all the conduct inside of the apartment. This is a terrorizing environment, relevant where the state is stalking by planes and helicopters as a population, the ongoing cycling of methods of amplification, chiefly relying on this demon that's engaged in criminal presence inside of an apartment where she pays rent, and she will go to federal prison by virtue of that conduct, and doing so with malice and impunity with the intent to obstruct justice. I want to be clear, the demons of Avanaf communities is what's represented, and while they come out together, crossing path, Avanaf communities on the job, group stalking, Avanaf communities living at the property, crossing path, and engineered light, while the terrorizing light remains inside of the apartment, where demons like that are group stalking on an ongoing basis. Okay, that's crossing path, it's conduct, it's achieving the monitoring conduct. That's the significance of having a demonic method of light activity that's appearing. I want to be clear, this is shade. There's a light there, this is shade, and yet you have the manifestation of light here, and it's magnified in size. You can see the bolts, this is magnification of light, it's not sunlight. These demons were pacing as I opened the door, they're monitoring on camera. All right, Avanaf communities is gonna be prosecuted, and so is the people of the state and the state of California. All right, this is the P.O.C, and as you saw the impossible light moving, dynamic, and as you see it gone now, it would never appear under any circumstances naturally. You see the structure of this building, and yet I've been documenting on an ongoing basis, day and night, impossible light activity where you see demons. Those are the demon-possessed group stalkers who have custody of children. That's going to be addressed. Natural-born citizenship is going to be addressed. Federal prison is going to be addressed, and the impunity with which demons who are sex offenders, those are men that are also group stalking me and monitoring like psychopaths, pacing all around, and they know my panties are down. They're tracking my movement in and out of the bathroom. They know when I'm physically nude. And this sex offender, Tracy Banks, who you heard engage in criminal defamation, is engaged as a means of monitoring, is group stalking with the rest of these sex offenders. She's a sex offender, and so are all of the rest of the people of the state, the government, the municipality. They're engaging in a massive sex offense while they're keeping a woman under surveillance, aware of any and every aspect of your life, including what's going on inside of a bathroom, where the fake sun's remaining over the apartment, and the entity is keeping a means of what is demonic on its face. Seeing that impossible light activity, seeing the demons pacing, being subject to stalking by helicopters and planes, the demons maintaining amplification. This is all ongoing terrorism that's being documented in Avanaf communities. Is going to be civilly and criminally prosecuted, and you have a population of people, many of whom are going to federal prison. It's currently 2:54 p.m. where you saw the fake sun, and you see a covered patio, and you saw impossible light activity present, and you see it's equally impossible that it disappears. It's never going to be there. You are looking at the demonic, and then you saw the demons pacing, and they know exactly what I'm stating, and they demonstrate it while they walk out. Okay, those are the psychopaths that provide evidence against themselves. It is currently, again, 2:55 p.m. This is P.O.C. Absolutely. This cloudy light is present at 7 in the morning. It's always there all day long. This concentrated light, engineered light, it's layered. Okay, this is the crime scene where a demon is engaged in ongoing pacing on behalf of the state by virtue of just living directly above. She's going to federal prison. P.O.C.